Howdy, crypto friends. Lots for the bulls to talk about. Finally, big weekend, big holiday day today in terms of the bulls taking control. Gotta laugh. This is my travel schedule of the last 2 weeks. I left for Puerto Rico, was traveling the 7th and the 8th in the air and driving on the road, and then heading back yesterday, all day on the road. Missed the continuation bull move. And so how I've been dealing with that FOMO is still trading short term and capturing some upside on the initial bull break that I missed. I did end up getting Litecoin for a 6.5% bull move. And then here today, I did get Ethereum for a quick 1% bull move. But small gains, can't complain because I have not been at my station to be able to trade the bigger gains. So the way that I don't feel FOMO is just knowing that this market is not going anywhere. We have Canadian MJ, we have the regular stock market, we've got commodities. There is always something to be trading, and that's never going to change as long as markets exist. So what we're going to be looking at is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, Dash, Neo, BNB, and TRX, our usual suspects. And we're going to be looking at some interesting setups on the weekly and longer term timeframes because we're now getting these signals and saying, all right, are these bulls going to change these weekly trends now and give us some late winter, early spring excitement? And what we're going to be watching is, let's start it off with Bitcoin, weekly time frame, the potential of, there's 3 scenarios on how this is going to play out. The first scenario is an equilibrium where we stay within this tightening range with an inability to break resistance, and that key resistance on Coinbase is 42.39. So if we can't break 42.39, we're going to be looking for a lower high to form and a tightening range. Our weekly higher low has already clearly formed at 33.37. We formed that higher low, and now we're heading up to test both weekly exponential 12-period resistance and that 42.39 level. We just saw a solid leg up on Bitcoin that we'll look at the shorter term timeframes for the signal very clearly given on the 4-hour time frame. 39.17 is our current top, and that's about 10% away from that resistance level that the bulls, it's a little bit less than that, but that's the resistance level that the bulls have to break to change the weekly trend. We're keeping in mind that Litecoin has already changed the weekly trend. Binance has changed the weekly trend. So there are some individual names that are potentially giving us an early heads up to be watching for these trends to change. But if we get this bull break on Bitcoin over 42.39, the next resistances are 44.15, and then we're looking all the way up at 5,000. So there's nice space up there because we had that all-out dump from our equilibrium that broke bearish in the 6,000 range. And now we're going to be trying to get the bull break to head back to this area with a lack of resistance. So that is what our sights are set on for the next few weeks. Can we break 42.39? Scenario number 1, no, we cannot break it, and we stay in a tightening range until probably late March, early April. April was a very bullish month for crypto in 2018. That was where I had my biggest gains in 2018. Scenario 2, we see continued solid bull volume on the daily timeframes. We see the shorts continue to be put under pressure, and we just break to a higher high on the weekly time frame sometime in the next couple weeks to change that trend. And scenario number 3 would be we reject from the exponential resistance. We can't form the higher low, or I should say the higher high, and we pull back and break 33.37 support to be heading back down to the lowest price that we've seen. Right now, that's probably the least likely scenario. I would say the more likely scenario is an equilibrium on the weekly time frame, but there's a good chance that we could see this weekly trend change take place before that happens. We are in an area where some of our members have been pointing out that the BTC longs, which are now starting to close, this is the weekly time frame for the longs chart on Bitcoin, and you can see we're entering areas of high levels where we usually see a pullback and temporary tops marked. And we can see this is the April move that I was talking about. April, we had longs closing out on that bull move, and then July was another bull move that we saw where the longs were closing out. So let's keep an eye on how much these longs close out here, and if that's going to be an indication that our daily chart is going to temporarily top out on Bitcoin. So let's look at this daily chart. We just saw a nice actually that's Litecoin. Let's go back to Bitcoin, daily chart. Finally getting that nice continuation. It was a long, slow grind. There were a lot of rejections and fake outs, and people are wondering, what are these fake outs? And all we can do is speculate. I already speculated that it's the bots sitting at a certain level to push the price down. Reason number 1 is shorts want to keep the price contained and not have to cover their positions. Reason number 2 could be the opposite scenario. bulls want to keep the price contained to allow further accumulation. And scenario number 3, I had another scenario, but it's slipping my mind at the moment. The bottom line is we don't know, what was going on at that price action. Either what we do know is that the bulls won, and they back tested and held this exponential support. That was a must after grinding and rejecting from this exponential resistance for a month, trying to see follow through. Finally got over it, back tested and held it. We got the bull cross of the daily exponential moving averages. Last time we got that bull cross, we didn't get much follow through. So we have to be a bit skeptical, but the bull volume is looking great. Look at the RSI. The daily RSI is now hitting 70, pretty extended levels. We look back at the entire pullback from the all-time high. How many times has the daily RSI gotten above 70? Here's where we topped out on the April bull move, and we topped out at daily 70 RSI. The July bull move topped out at the upper 70s daily RSI, so we could still see some further upside, but we're just getting these indications that tell us we're likely to see some consolidation, and that could mean the the weekly equilibrium is going to continue to tighten. The 4-hour signal that this bull move was coming here in the short term, we had really a nice late signal because we got these bull moves. We didn't see a ton of follow through over 37.11. We were really struggling at that level, but look at how nice these inside bars are. 4-hour inside bar on declining volume, telling us the range is getting tight. And this is actually why I entered my Ethereum bull trade this morning. It was based on Bitcoin. And I said, all right, 4-hour inside bars. We've had Litecoin run hard. We've had Ethereum run hard. Let's see if Bitcoin's going to get a shot here. And we broke and actually entered while we were still in this equilibrium, in this tightening 4-hour pattern. And then once we got the bull break, that was the confirmation that we would likely see Ethereum make its way into the 140s, and that's where I scaled out. We'll look at that in just a second, but it was Bitcoin that I was using, the setup on Bitcoin, as my guide. So nice follow through. The signal for Bitcoin here was 37.18, and we made it all the way up to essentially 39.18, a $200 move, which in this current market environment is a little bit over 5%. So now we're going to be looking for 4-hour consolidation. We've seen a higher low every 4-hour candlestick for 7 candlesticks in a row. So we're a bit extended. Look at the 4-hour RSI. It's up in the upper 80s. Again, scrolling back, the RSI on the 4-hour time frame since the all-time high has reached this level a couple times, but it's those highs from the April spike and the July spike that topped out at these levels and then consolidated. So we are being cautious. The bears are looking for entries in these levels. Hourly potential volume climax, as this hourly candlestick has 5 minutes left on Bitcoin. We just had a 15-minute temporary volume climax. This is letting us know that some consolidation is coming. Anything above 37.79 is a higher low on the 15-minute time frame. If the bulls can keep the 15-minute uptrend, they're certainly remaining strong. Lose that 15-minute uptrend, we zoom out to the hourly, and we're going to look to see if the bulls can hold 37. That's actually the same level. That 15-minute higher low is also our hourly higher low on a little bull flag there. So we'll see if the bulls can maintain that level. The exponential supports continue to be our guide. If we lose the hourly uptrend on Bitcoin, zoom out to the 4-hour time frame where healthy consolidation to cool off RSI levels is due. And again, exponential support will be on watch on this consolidation. And we can look at historically the recent bull move on Litecoin. Just going back in time a little bit here, there are nice trades to be had off these exponential moving averages. Here's the raging bull move on Litecoin on the 4-hour time frame. We consolidated, we touched that exponential support on the 12 period, and then we went 15% in the next 12 hours. So keep an eye on these exponential supports and watch to see if the bulls are buying dips off of them, as those are our short-term targets for consolidation levels, and we anticipate the bulls will likely hold them at least initially. So 15-minute exponential supports on watch, as well as the uptrend overall. And again, keep an eye on the volume, because if daily volume keeps up like this, and we obviously have a long time to go before this daily candlestick closes, then we could see these weekly resistance levels tested sometime in the next week or two. And on the daily chart, anything above 35.35 will give us a daily higher low. Things are about to get interesting. Of course, right in the last video, when I was talking about it being a very difficult market to trade, that's not changing. It's a nice couple days of bull action, absolutely. It's still a very difficult market to trade compared to traditional markets in the last 6 months, but that's going to change. It will be easy to trade cryptocurrency again. We will see clear uptrends, and we will see 100% plus bull moves, in my opinion, on a lot of these coins. That being said, we're going to patiently wait for the weekly time frame. Also, keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of people that miss the bottom, and they're constantly going to be saying, this is a fake out, I need to be more patient, and they're going to miss the bull move and the shift in momentum. So have a clear game plan. Say to yourself, if this happens, if we break this weekly resistance without consolidating from this point, what am I going to do? If we see the easiest way to play this will be if we do get a weekly equilibrium, because that break will be even more clear and there'll be even more people acting on it as a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But have a game plan for all three of those scenarios that I just laid out on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. So short-term consolidation is likely, and we're watching the 15-minute uptrend. We'll check in before the end of the video. Bitcoin, or I should say Ethereum, stood out as the clear, stronger name over the past couple of days, still grinding higher, and then, of course, with a big-time bull spike to get over the double top, 125.28, 125 even was our double top here on Coinbase, and breaking that level in a big way. Looking at it on the hourly time frame, it was just a slow and steady move. And if we look at it on the 4-hour time frame, again, very overextended. We've seen 4-hour candles with a higher low now, 3, 6, 9, about 10 or 11 candlesticks in a row. Potential that we get a bit of a volume climax here. And I can say that that is a likely scenario because look at the volume compared to the previous candlestick and look at how much time is left. We're 25% into this candlestick forming, and we're already well over half of the volume of the previous candlestick. So I can say that this current candlestick in the 4-hour time frame is very likely to see higher volume than at least the previous 3 candlesticks. So the hourly time frame, a big upper wick, again, a volume climax there. We had a little hourly bull flag with a key support of 141.24. Losing the hourly uptrend is going to be an indication of 4-hour consolidation, and that's going to be a potential signal for bears to enter their trades looking for that 4-hour consolidation. So here on the Ethereum chart, 15-minute, much more profit taking going on, still maintaining 15-minute higher lows, but the size of that pullback, we have to be watching for a 15-minute lower high to form if we cannot break 147.80, and then if we drop down and break these low 140 supports, then we will clearly be in 4-hour consolidation mode. And again, our target will be the exponential support, which is going to be catching up every candlestick that prints from here into tonight. So again, temporary tops may be in, certainly very extended. Let's look at the weekly time frame for Ethereum because bulls are getting excited here as well, similar to Bitcoin. We have our low of the pullback, high of the bounce, which was the 100% move, higher low clearly established down in the $100 psychological support level. And look how close we are to changing this trend. We are trying to get over the exponential 12-period resistance. We have a whole week to trade, so if we do reject, we could see an upper wick and reject from this exponential resistance. We did reject from it back on the bull move in December. But again, keep an eye on the volume because if this volume increases, we can absolutely see continuation without an equilibrium on this weekly time frame. The same 3 scenarios are here as they are for Bitcoin. The least likely is a rejection and a bear break, in my opinion. The more likely is probably an equilibrium, but we only need a 10% bull move to see a weekly trend change on Ethereum, and we can certainly see 10% fairly easily in this space once that momentum gets going. Next resistance after 160.62 is 200 and 222. So again, nice space to the upside for the bulls to work with if we do get this trend change, keeping in mind that the volume on this move is lower than the initial 100% bounce that we got. So that volume would have to pick up if we're going to shift the odds for likely continuation on this trend change attempt. Daily time frame for Ethereum, again, very overextended. Daily RSI, we scroll back. How many times have we been above 70 since the all-time high? And the answer is the April bull move, and that's pretty much it. All-time highs, that crazy action following the all-time highs, and then that bull move in April. Other than that, we're in a bit of uncharted territory. It's been now 8 months since we have seen daily RSI levels up this high. So zooming in, consolidation, 15-minute time frame, certainly more convincing signals of consolidation with the amount of bear volume on that 15-minute candlestick, more convincing than what Bitcoin is showing us at this point, although it was a clear 15-minute volume climax, and that's the more aggressive bear signal. If you're looking for a 15-minute volume climax, you're entering bearish and you're setting stops above that level in case we do see continuation. Litecoin on the daily time frame, first things first, the weekly, we know we have changed the weekly trend already. We had the low, high of the bull move, higher low as we built a base of support in the $29 range, and then continuation. So perhaps this is a precursor to be looking at the other names to change their trends as well. And we can certainly look at the next resistance levels of 56.40 and 65.60. And let's see if the bulls can continue this move. Anything on the weekly above 29.41 will be a weekly higher low. And we're certainly going to be watching for the bull cross of the exponential 12 and 26 period, which has not happened in a very, very long time. Back in single digits is the last time that happened. That would be a clear sign of a sentiment and momentum and trend change as well. Daily time frame, not seeing as significant follow through. Again, the Litecoin bulls used up a lot of their momentum with significantly more gains on the initial move to the upside. We then pulled back pretty hard as well, all the way back down to 39.60, and then a 20% move from that higher low on the daily time frame as we see increasing bull volume and the daily continuation move. So when we consolidate on the daily, anything above 39.60 keeps the higher low intact. The 4-hour time frame at this point looking for like a volume climax. Again, 25% into the candle, and look at the volume. It's going to be the highest 4-hour candle volume that we've seen since the initial run up pretty easily. Hourly, let's see if we're topping out. Anything above 45.16 is an hourly higher low, and 15-minute volume climax signaling the top, similar to Bitcoin. And seeing the correlation with Litecoin and Bitcoin recently, the last, let's say, 3 days, stronger than with Ethereum. Ethereum's been doing its own bull thing. Bitcoin and Litecoin have had the same spikes and then bears pushing the price down, and now seeing similar action and strong correlation between Bitcoin and Litecoin on this potential signals for consolidation in the short term. XRP got a bull break as well. So that daily tightening pattern, the weekly inside bars, we had our low, high of the bull move, higher low, lower high, and the bull break was right here at 31.89, and we made it all the way up to 33.75. So breaking the first resistance, you want to see the resistances behind it break for convincing follow through. The volume was convincing for the bulls. So 31.89 up to 33.75, decent little follow through on that move. Let's look at the weekly here. So the weekly is a different setup. Let's clearing it up. We've got our low, high of the bull move, higher low, and we are going to be looking for a lower high. So I can say that this setup is more likely for an equilibrium because names like Ethereum and Bitcoin only need 10% for weekly bull breaks, whereas here we have to go up to 46, and for us to see a bull break on the weekly time frame from these levels, we're going to need a 42% move on XRP. So a very different setup, more likely for a weekly equilibrium than Bitcoin and Ethereum. Short-term signals, 4-hour inside bar, bull break into continuation, similar to Bitcoin. Big time upper wick of profit taking. Let's look at it on the 15-minute time frame. Volume climax, very convincing amount of profit taking volume behind that candlestick. Still a 15-minute uptrend as long as we hold 31.9. And looking at the hourly chart, we've got hourly exponential support to be watching for the uptrend, and just looking for a 4-hour higher low to form. But again, temporary signals that our temporary tops are set, and we're looking for some healthy consolidation now. Dash has been another strong name. Continuation on the daily time frame. So we had our high of the initial bull move, low of the pullback, and now continuation. Again, increasing bull volume is a great sign. Nice follow through. And looking at the weekly time frame for Dash now, we have our low of the bull move, or I should say low of the pullback. High of the bounce initially was 107.53, so that's a key resistance for us to be watching. And our higher low on the weekly is down at 65.56. So low, lower high, higher low, still in an equilibrium, testing exponential resistance. Look at the exponential resistance, reject the price on all these bounce attempts, the 12-period weekly exponential resistance, and that's what we're testing right now. So again, for Dash, in order to see weekly continuation, we need a 22% move, so likely to stay within this tightening range. And if we are going to break bullish, names like Ethereum and Bitcoin that only need 10% could potentially break first to give early indication that these names will follow as well. 4-hour time frame, anything above, let's see, nice inside bars, very similar to Bitcoin breaking bullish here. And anything above 78.74 will be a 4-hour higher low. Bulls have a lot of space to work with. Hourly uptrend still intact. Higher low here is 84 psychological. And let's see if we got the 15-minute volume climax, temporary top signal, and we do. Still a clear 15-minute uptrend with exponential support to be watching on this consolidation. No red flags on this 15-minute consolidation on any of these names at this point. We just know that looking at the longer term time frames, the 4-hour RSI, the daily RSI, that we do need to be cautious that this could indicate that 4-hour consolidation is starting. It's very early at this point. We have to lose the 15-minute uptrend. We have to lose the hourly uptrend, but we are keeping an eye out for that to happen in the near term. NEO, nice continuation here as well. Daily higher low and then higher high, solid bull volume and follow through, 4-hour time frame. Last higher low, looking down at 817. So anything above that will keep the bulls in control. Hourly higher low, just formed down here at 851. And the 15-minute time frame, volume climax, not nearly as significant follow through, looking a little bit more toppy than those other names are. And some people might be looking for a cup and handle pattern, but it's not the right setup because we did get to a higher high here. And hourly time frame does not have as much space to work with before potentially losing the hourly uptrend, which would have us zoom out to the 4-hour and look for the 4-hour consolidation. BNB, not getting a bull break here. So BNB is lagging behind a bit. After being a very strong bull, we have our high, low, and we haven't been able to break 950, a little double top here. Higher low on the daily is now 889. That's our key support level to keep control, and the bulls want to break 950 to try and head up to the recent high. Look what's missing here, bull volume. So we had similar setups with the recent high and healthy consolidation on NEO and on Dash, and what stands out? Increasing bull volume for continuation. And for Binance, or I should say Dash on Binance, increasing bull volume for continuation. Binance, no continuation, no increasing bull volume. So that's what's missing there. 4-hour time frame still healthy at 924, but if we are going to see, and that's actually that is a cup and handle pattern. The psychology is here, unable to break resistance, bull flag of healthy consolidation, and ideally the bulls would have wanted to punch it through right there. Hasn't happened yet, could still happen. And if we break 924, then that's going to negate the possibility of this cup and handle pattern. Keep it on watch here. Let's see if it is going to be a laggard play. We know that Binance could see continuation even if Bitcoin is consolidating. If anybody's going to trade counter to what Bitcoin is doing, Binance can certainly do that. Checking in on TRX. It's been the weakest name, losing the daily uptrend, pulling back significantly. We're looking at resistance of 253, and after 253, we are looking up at 2767. Weekly time frame here, we're just looking for a higher low to be established. This is still very healthy weekly consolidation. The move has come right off the lows. We saw almost a 200% move and more than a 200% move. And now we're looking for this is a potential weekly bull flag. So very healthy consolidation at this point on declining volume. And we need a daily trend change for us to say, all right, our weekly higher low has been established and we're going to head back up towards 3 pennies. So to change this daily trend, we're going to have to see a bounce and a likely lower high, unable to do a whole bunch, a higher low compared to 2312, our recent bottom, and then that continuation for the trend change. And if that happens, that's when our weekly higher low is confidently set. So worth keeping an eye on because although the daily chart is weak on this bounce compared to everybody else, that weekly chart is strong compared to a lot of names. So we're just in different periods of our cycles, so to speak. So bottom line, temporary tops look to be potentially set here, although it is still very healthy 15-minute consolidation. As long as the 15-minute uptrend remains intact, this bull move is still underway. Lose the 15-minute and we look for healthy hourly and 4-hour consolidation. That's a signal that the bears are going to be looking for as well. And let's keep an eye on volume. Again, just highlighted the importance of how Binance volume is missing and NEO and Dash had it for continuation. If Bitcoin and Ethereum can keep up solid daily volume this coming week, then we're going to be looking at the potential of these weekly trends changing in the near term. It's all about volume to get this follow through. Keep an eye on the cryptocurrency stocks, Riot, and I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, MARA. There's a whole bunch of them that ran wild and then faded forever, and they're going to see some strength this coming week, in my opinion. And Julian, good job pointing that out in the chat room. He listed a whole bunch, and I'll put those in the description of this video in terms of the tickers to be watching in the stock world that should benefit from cryptocurrency strength. So we'll check back in. As long as this action keeps up, we'll certainly be putting out more frequent videos, and the fact that this one's going for 25 minutes certainly says something, as now there is something that we can be talking about in terms of significant shifts in action and significant price movement. Congrats again to the bulls that stuck it out and held through that grind, or that entered once they saw some clear signals. We'll wrap it up here with some more of the trip I took to Puerto Rico in the El Yunque. I've never heard it said. Someone correct me. Yunque National Forest. And that was a wild hike. A lot of it still closed due to hurricane damage, but you're pretty much up in the clouds, and obviously tons of plant life and animal life all around. And hope you have a good holiday, if you have a holiday. And if not, make it a holiday. Do a good thing. We'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.